Meet Glencore, the commodities trader behind a $37 billion share float, the biggest of 2011. Glencore controls 24% of the world's barley, 10% of its wheat, 50% of its copper and 60% of its zinc. It also invests in oil, gas, coal, aluminium, iron ore, rice and sugar. At some point, what's on your dinner plate and inside the appliances you use has probably passed through Glencore's hands. Its revenue last year was $145 billion. Founded by American Mark Rich in 1974, the company fortune was made selling Iranian oil, breaking US sanctions in doing so. Indicted on charges of trading with the enemy, racketeering and tax evasion, Rich fled the US in 1983, relocating to a Swiss tax haven as one of the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. Rich continued to trade oil, supplying $2 billion worth to South Africa's apartheid regime in the mid-1980s. Rich stood down in 1993 after failing in his ambition to corner the entire global zinc market. He handed control to South African-born Ivan Glassenberg, who owns 16% of the company. Described by the Financial Times as one of the great enigmas of the corporate world, a brief stint in Sydney gave the obsessively private Glassenberg Australian citizenship. The Glencore float will earn the Swiss resident $10 billion, making him, technically, our richest man. Glencore is currently under investigation by the Zambian government for allegedly rorting the country out of millions in tax revenue. Early details of the investigation led the European Union Investment Bank to freeze all new loans to Glencore. It's also been charged with bribing EU officials in Belgium, and 2 years ago it paid a settlement to an aluminium company in Bahrain to make bribery claims go away, even though it denied the allegations. Commodities trading has very human costs. World food prices are 36% higher than they were this time last year. Another 44 million people have been pushed below the poverty line. The UN says the increases can be largely explained by the emergence of a speculative bubble created by powerful institutional investors. Glencore is the biggest of those. Last year, Glencore successfully lobbied the Russian government to stop wheat exports after a weak harvest there. This allowed Glencore to push up the price elsewhere, selling its stockpiled grain at prices 15% higher than normal. That might add $1 or $2 at the checkout in Australia, but elsewhere, it can be the difference between life and death. Glencore, reaping huge profits from life's essentials. Capitalism at its most lucrative and its most costly.